The Royal Marines have been called in to combat an invader that's taking over our riverbanks. Himalayan Balsam can be very pretty, but it's also prolific and it's squeezing out our own native plants.
Yes, today conservationists and commando recruits joined forces to tackle the unwanted immigrant along the River Otter. Our reporter John Andrews joined them.
Royal Marine recruits marched into battle with the balsam. In a blizzard of blossom on the banks of the River Otter, they pulled out armfuls of this invasive weed. 40 cadets from the training centre at Lympstone joined a couple of dozen civilian volunteers who tackled the tributaries. The plant was introduced to Britain back about 180 years ago as a decorative garden plant. It was known as the poor man's orchid. It has a bright pink flower that comes out in July and lasts right the way through until the autumn. But now look at it. It's everywhere along the banks of streams and rivers. Clinton Devon Estates, the local landowners, have organised the fight back, tackling the Colleton Brook near Colleton Raleigh.
And obviously gardeners loved it, but very soon after being introduced, it escaped from the gardens and started colonising wild habitats, particularly riverbanks. And it's a very aggressive species. It out-competes our native plants. And outshades them, and so when you have the Himalayan balsam taking hold, nothing else really survives, and it's spread up the rivers. It dies back in winter, which is a problem, leaving exposed soil which is easily eroded.
It's bad news for animals and insect life as well as other plants. And as local conservationist groups know, this is a plant that knows how to spread itself very effectively.
What happens in all of this is that the seeds explode. And they explode over a range of 7 metres, and if they're anywhere near the stream, they'll go into the stream. The river, they then feed into the main river, and all of the riverbanks right the way down are then coated with these seeds which are floated down.
At least it can be pulled out by the roots quite easily, unlike that other invasive plant, the Japanese knotweed, and it can be killed with chemicals or sliced down with strimmers.
But somewhere like here, a nice wildlife habitat near water, it's really by hand pulling. And I think you have to have modest goals, and if every year we can drive it back a few hundred metres, then that's a job well done.
But it is a huge job. Every major river and estuary in the southwest is facing exactly the same problem. John Andrews, ITV News, by the River Otter.